Alrighty, so we just watched Extraordinary Tales, and it was fun.
Mostly.
It was neat.
Yes.
And the artwork was really, really good.
Yeah, I was paying attention to that for the most part, because it just... Even though it uses 3D models and stuff, and that has like a stiff animation, the style is where it was at with like how it was processed and had it look grainy, like a graphic novel in a way.
Yeah, so it's basically they took like 5 Edgar Allan Poe stories, and then different animation teams did like different styles for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they all look really cool in different ways.
Yes.
Indeed.
So Telltale Heart is probably the one that I like the most, because it's this like black and white, very high contrast.
Yeah, I like that style too.
Yeah, it's this really cool high contrast 3D look that just if you've ever read the New York 5 or the New York 4, it looks kind of like that, which is a comic that most people have never heard of. So bonus points there. So what did you guys think of it?
It was very, very pretty and interesting with all the particular things that they decided to do with the different styles.
Yeah, I love how each story gets they're very distinct. It's not like, well, it's slightly different.
No, they're definitely different.
Yeah, like there's one that looks very much like it's just panels from a comic, and like that's really cool.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like the wraparound story has this kind of very blocky. I don't know how to explain what it looks like. It almost looks like it's like folded paper or something.
Yeah, it almost kind of looked like that.
Which is it's also really cool.
Yeah.
It's very much a visual thing, right? Because it's like pretty much everybody knows these stories.
Yeah, for the most part, aside from any younger person of today, just sort of discovering these sorts of things.
The one thing I don't get is, okay, so it's rated like 14A.
Yeah,
Okay.
like that.
So, one, why is it 14A? Did I miss something? I mean, there's some blood, I guess.
I think also the specific depiction of entry wounds and specific parts of the body that are bleeding, plus that one particular scene of the gentleman actually dying, yeah, that probably would leave some scars for people who are a little
And
younger.
how the eyes like blackened and just...
Yeah. It just seems like this is the kind of thing you would make as like a PG movie that kids could watch.
Like Coraline.
Yeah, that's actually a really good example.
Basically.
I suppose. Though I think the one distinguishing bit is with that it would probably blur the lines into fantasy more so, where this is more supernatural. But either way, I don't think it would make that much of a difference, and I'm not exactly an expert with any of their rating systems of what counts as safe or not safe for kids.
Yeah, but it's like the Edgar Allan Poe stories that they're using aren't like they're not inherently really bloody. Like that wasn't like Edgar Allan Poe's style. It was very much all about like building anticipation and tension. It wasn't about people's heads off.
Nah.
Well, I mean, it's basically probably rated that way because it's not written for children. I don't know, that's just my assumption, even though the rating doesn't really make sense either.
I suppose. Also, it's a bit of a sense of trying to show something from that age and nowadays. It has a little bit of a boundary that needs to sort of break through, but even then it would probably be tough for a kid nowadays to sort of understand what are they talking about. Maybe, again, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I've never found the language to be a barrier, but I'm just kind of an English nerd, so
Yeah.
that could be part of it. Anyway, so final thoughts. What did you guys think?
It was very neat, though there were a couple particular moments where I kind of nodded off from the particular things that happened, but
Yes, well, that's quite common.
style-wise, it was definitely interesting, and it was interesting with the visualizations of how they interpreted some of the stories.
Okay, so red light, yellow light, green light. Go, David.
I'm not David.
You're not David. My brain got screwed up.
Righty-os then. Any sort of animation buff or someone that wants to watch something interesting and not exactly spoopy, but something intriguing for the Halloween season, it's definitely a green light. In most other cases, I'd probably say yellow light in most cases. Probably not many people's cup of tea, but yeah, it kind of depends.
Justin.
I may have to give it a green light. My reasoning might be different than others, but like I want to look at it again. It kind of gives me a bit of inspiration, maybe. I kind of want to see if I can try that art style in 3D software. Like that's the part that intrigues me.
Okay. So for me, I don't know. Like I would watch it again in the sense that I would play it in the background and look at it every once in a while and go like, oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, really.
But I wouldn't sit down for 75 minutes and watch the whole thing through again.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
So I'm going to say yellow simply because I can't recommend you sit down and watch the whole 75 minutes. I would totally have it on in the background, though, if I was, like, cooking dinner or, like, cleaning or something. And just every once in a while look over and go, like, oh, that's pretty. And then go back to doing something else. It might take up that spot from Law & Order sometimes.
Fair
Because Law & Order is the ultimate show for that. Because you should never pay attention to Law & Order. Because it will make you mad. Or at least it makes me mad. But maybe that's just me. So I think that's going to be it. I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.
I'm Justin.